Hey BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I wasn't actually going to film today, but I figured go ahead and do an update of how my reading month is going because of all the readathons I'm attempting to do. All three glorious readathons. So it's kind of hard for me to balance it out, which is my own fault because I just get so excited and caught up in it all and wanting to do everything, and I know that I can't because I have to, and also it's not just about that. It's also that I have all these books I want to read, so it's like, oh, that's a perfect excuse to get those books read. So it's, I do this to myself. I overwhelm myself, and I'm trying to just find a good balance. So, at the moment, I am reading a book that applies to a prompt in the Tis the Damn Readathon, which is, the prompt is either read a retelling of a myth or, legend or whatever, or read one that's based on something, a myth or legend, and that is the Bartimaeus trilogy, The Amulet of Samarkand, which is about jinn, which is an Indian mythology about they're genies, just more tricky and sinister. And I'm having fun with it so far. I'm definitely enjoying. I like the character of Bartimaeus, although this happens to me every time, whether it's reading it or watching it on a movie or a TV show, when we meet an otherworldly character who's like, we're superior to humans because we're immortal and all powerful and you humans are weak and blah blah blah. And when I read it, I kind of get a little indignant because it's like, it's like not fair. It's not our fault that we are not as powerful and we're not immortal, and it's like, it's not our fault we haven't lived as long as you have. And to me, it always bugs me people that automatically, it's one thing to be like, I've been to just be like, I have lived a lot longer, so I have more experience than you. And to, try to explain to someone like my parents would do, and it's another thing to be like, I'm superior to you. You're just a little child compared to me. And they have this also with not just with Bartimaeus and how he responds to our main character, one of our main characters, Bartimaeus of course is also a main character, not just with Nathaniel, but the reason that he summons Bartimaeus in the first place, which is that his own master is so condescending towards him. It makes him feel so small and just doesn't show any love or any kindness or any respect to this kid. And he just doesn't care. He just is like, I want an apprentice, so I'm going to take in this kid. And he doesn't consider that this kid, he's a kid. He is a child. He was a child that lost his parents, was abandoned by his parents. He's alone in the world. And it happens so young. He is taken from his parents at such a young age. He is a kid who's vulnerable and is innocent, and he doesn't know a lot about the world. And this guy thinks, in his eyes, it's like, I'm gonna be cold-hearted and bully this kid constantly because that's how he'll learn. If I bully him, because then I'll scare him into submission, and he'll learn because I'm scaring him and intimidating to him. And it's like, no, that's not how you teach someone to learn. That's not how you do it. You show them a certain amount of respect and a certain amount of kindness and patience. You have to be patient with a kid, and it's not, you can't just treat him bully them into submission to get them to, maybe they will get motivated enough that they'll become strong and powerful but it's not because they want to learn and they want to become powerful because they want to get back at you for treating them like shit. And there's a scene when he's 10 years old, and he gets Arthur Underwood, his master, invites all of his friends over to hand, and they want to meet Nathaniel and see how powerful he is and if he's a worthy student. And they're so condescending and like, oh, he doesn't look like much, and when they're all like, oh, you're just a stupid little kid. They're all disappointed because he doesn't look all powerful. I mean, how are you supposed to look powerful? He is still first of all, he's a kid. He's young. And how can you tell unless, like, you can't tell how powerful or how much someone has learned unless you ask them a question, which he does get interrogated in the scene by Simon Lovelace, who is the person he wants one of the people he wants revenge on. Like, he steals the amulet from Simon. He has Bartimaeus steal the amulet from Simon Lovelace, who is a little bit younger than his master, like, probably my age. Maybe like a little bit older than me. And he kind of mocks the kid, interrogates him, and is like asking questions. And of course, Nathaniel spent all this time studying, reading the books, and learning whatever he can. So he has a good memory, and he's memorized things. And yeah, he hasn't had a lot of experience, but whose fault is that? Like, I'm not saying throw the kid to the lions, but it's like Arthur Underwood doesn't even give him any experience, like any somewhat safe experience. He just is all like, oh, you can light the candles and get stuff for me, and you can read all these books. And I'm not saying throw the kid to the lions. I'm saying, like, give him some practical experience instead of, like, thinking that you're teaching this boy by, saying, oh, you can do this for me, oh, read all these books, because there's only so much. As much as I love reading, and as much as important as reading, sometimes practical experience is more important than just reading a book. And it just annoyed me so much. And then, so at the party, he, as, Simon Lovelace interrogates him with all these questions, and he proves he knows this stuff. Like, he doesn't know it, but he has been studying really hard. He's been working hard. Of course, it's not good enough for Arthur Underwood, his master, and so he proves he knows, he has a lot of knowledge. And of course, like, Simon Lovelace just dismisses it and everything. He's like, oh, well, anyone can read a book. He doesn't give the kid deserves a little bit of, credit, instead of being like, oh, anyone can read that. Even if he's just memorizing facts, he should still give a little bit. I'm not saying give trophy to every little kid who, plays the game, but just, make him feel good about himself instead of belittling the kid. That he's not gonna learn, and that's gonna, even if he does learn and becomes powerful, it's gonna bite you in the ass later. That's what Arthur Underwood and Simon Lovelace don't realize. This is gonna bite them in the ass later. Which is this kid's goal in the plot of the story, to get them back. And so he proceeds to mock this kid, and then the kid kind of gets a little, snarky with this adult, which, okay, he's a kid, They always say kids and children need to be respectful to adults, but you know what? This guy did not deserve this kid's respect. And I don't blame this kid for being like, you're just mad because I got it right. And of course, Simon Lovelace snaps and embarrasses the kid in front of everybody, all because his poor little ego was just bruised by a kid. It's like, oh dear God, this kid has, he's just a kid. He can't be allowed to humiliate me, so I'm going to humiliate him first. I mean, he's acting like a child himself. And his master, the person who is supposed to be his guardian and take care of him and protect this kid, which is why Nathaniel's angry at this guy, because this guy, he trusted this guy to protect him and take care of him as a parental figure, to love him, and he just stands by because he's all mad that this kid was disrespectful to his colleague. Like, it's, yes, respect a colleague, but they deserve when they deserve respect. And there is a way to where you can be loving and kind to a child at the same time as teaching them a lesson without being an ass about it and being like, I'm not going to even bother to help you because you deserve to be punished because I'm a coward. Which is what, again, Simon calls him a coward. Not Simon. Nathaniel thinks of him as a coward, which I'm with Nathaniel in this. He's a coward. He's supposed to take care of this kid, and he didn't. he just abandoned him. It kind of reminded me in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney and the animated feature where where Frollo was like, you shouldn't be going. I don't want you. Quasi wants more than anything to go out into the world and participate in the Festival of Fools. But Frollo's all like, no, you can't, because they'll mock you, make fun of you, and you're scaring them, and I'm doing you a favor, so you are going to stay in here. He's not going to even and so Quasi, with his imaginary gargoyle friends, which I think in the book they're actually imaginary, he's all like, they encourage him to go out there and have fun. Just have a good time. And yeah, I mean, if he's worried, then, and he goes out there, and he ends up getting mixed up in the crowning of the King of Fools, because his face is, damn it, stupid books, keep falling. I have my books in my lap, and they keep sliding. And is crowned the King of Fools because he's ugly. He has an ugly face. And eventually, one of the guards, after they're all celebrating, they're like, yay, woo, you're the King of Fools. And one of the guards throws a tomato at his face and is like, oh, you think he's ugly now? And then basically it riles up the crowd. They are amused by it, so they start throwing stuff. And Frollo's just sitting there because he has just realized that Quasi's there, and he's, Quasi's getting the punishment he thinks Quasi deserves for disobeying him. And is like, oh, a lesson needs to be learned here. And he just, sits there and just, and that's what this reminds me of. This kid who is 10 years old, a child who is still learning. A 10-year-old kid, and he essentially is like, well, I need to teach him a lesson, so I'm gonna let him suffer because I suck as a parent, and I don't care. It's all about me. He'll make me look bad, and it's like I cannot stand parents that are like that. That are I'm so glad my parents are not those type of people who are so worried about me making them look bad. And when they try to teach me things, they don't humiliate me. They don't make me feel bad about myself. Yeah, I'll get upset, and when I don't like what they have to say, but they don't make me. But eventually, I get over it and move on. And yeah, I might still have lingering feelings of disappointment or anger, but at the end of the day, I know it could be worse. I could have abusive parents. I could have parents that treat me like, this Nathaniel's guardian treats him. And I just don't understand how there can be people like that in this world. My only example has always been positive when it comes to parental figures. All the parents I know treat their kids kindly, with love and respect, and don't make their kids belittle their children, and don't make them feel bad. I mean, I have had some examples of parents that are just, why are they parents in the first place? But most of my examples of good parenting, I mean, not perfect, but good parenting, good enough. They respect their kid, they show their kid love and affection, or their kids, and they don't belittle them, make them feel bad about themselves, make them feel ashamed of them, make them feel like they should be ashamed of themselves and they're not good enough. They just make them feel like they don't berate them, or they're fair in their discipline. And it's just, I don't understand parents that are not, that parents just belittle your kids, and parents that belittle their kids and abuse them or treat them like they're worthless, or are just, you make me look bad, so I'm gonna punish you. The good news is he has saving grace with Arthur's wife. I can't remember her name. I'm just gonna call her Miss Underwood. She's the only person that's kind to this kid. And there was one of his teachers was kind. His art teacher was very kind to him. But then after this whole incident, when he's 10 years old, because she tries to defend this kid, because the kid Nathaniel does, he tries to get back at him, which is understandable. I would be so, especially at his age, as a 10-year-old kid who just got humiliated by a bunch of old guys, It brutally me humiliated, and yeah, maybe it wasn't a mature response, but who can blame this guy? He got humiliated and by these people, and he got abused by these people and told he was worthless by this man, by this guy, Simon Lovelace, and you expect him to handle that maturely and be like, oh, it's okay, I deserved it. Like, no, he's not going to be that way. And so he decides to use a spell to get back at Simon Lovelace in that moment right before he leaves. And it backfires on the kid, and Lovelace tries to get him back, and his art teacher defends him, and she gets fired. She gets essentially fired because of it, because she was defending a 10-year-old, a child who tried to defend himself. A child who did not was angry, full of anger and pain, and got humiliated in front of everybody. And, it's not. And so that's what leads up to his choice to summon Bartemius, because he intends to get his revenge fully on Simon Lovelace and his master. As you can see, I'm really enjoying this book. It's really good. I like I said, I like Bartemius' character. He's fun. I like Nathaniel. I feel so bad for the kid, obviously. And this is middle grade, so it doesn't apply. So, it's obviously not a tome or a mammoth. Which brings me to, I did get back into this, as you guys know, this was starting over with this book, The Way of Kings, because once again, I do that thing, and then I always do with these size books, which is I will start them and get inspired, and then all of a sudden I will feel restless and be like, oh, I want to read something else. But, I mean, it is, when you start reading it, you can get through I can understand why people don't take as long as I do, because they're, the chapters, yeah, they're kind of long, but you get through them. Once you get into the story, you can get through them quickly. I mean, I'm already on chapter 17, and I don't remember when I restarted it. I think it's only been a week or two since I restarted it. Well, actually, no, because I'm trying to I cannot remember when I restarted it. But I've gotten a lot of good chunks of it read, I mean, I'm still only in chapter 17, so I'm in the 300s, actually. So I'm in the 300 page mark, and unfortunately that's kind of small compared to the, like, 58. It's almost 1,260 page mark. Compared to that, it's not a lot, but I mean, I think it's still pretty good. We keep, and of course, it's multi-perspective, so we keep going back and forth between characters. We've kind of left Shallan for a little while, and I think that she's not, from what I've heard, she's not going to be as prominent in this book. Like, she's more prominent in the second book. And I am curious if Brandon Sanderson is going to include some romance in this. And I was thinking she could have, like, a romance with, Kaladin or Adolin. I don't know. But I am curious. Because I know he does put romance in his books, but it's not like it doesn't take over the plot. It's not like a dominating plot point, which I really appreciate, because I've definitely gotten tired of all the romance and stuff. And just, I want to, like, and what I was saying to my friend yesterday was, I'm always nervous about, like, I want to get a good retelling of both the Loki myth and the, Rumpelstiltskin, but I'm always, like, now for Rumpelstiltskin, I do want the romance in there, because as I've said before, I've been wanting to have a story like Skin Deep from Once Upon a Time. At least how it started, the Skin Deep episode. Of course, not the direction it goes later in the series, all that drama and bullshit. But like how Skin Deep was, I kind of want that. I want there to be like, but with that being said, I don't want stories that focus on the obsess over they gotta have like the hot sexy scenes with the two of them, and or like stories where, because I am, and also I admit, as a woman in her 30s, I don't want to read about, like, I still have soft spot for YA fiction, but I don't want to read about teenagers anymore, which is saying a lot because, my friend Terry, I was trying to get her to read give YA a chance, and she was all like, oh, I can't relate to teenagers, and I kind of rolled my eyes at that. It was like, and I still read, like, I love the Lunar Chronicles, and I still feel in the way I do, but, I mean, I think what helps is, for me personally, is when they're teenagers, but they're dealing with adult problems, and they don't obsess over relationship drama as much. Like it's in there, but it's not like their life isn't just, who am I dating right now, or I'm trying to deal with this person who's bullying me, or I'm trying, that's why I don't read contemporary that much, because I don't want to hear about that stuff. No disrespect, I know that stuff is important to teenagers and stuff, but I don't want to read about it, that's why what's great about Lunar Chronicles is, yeah, they're technically teenagers, but they're not dealing with, and they have romances and relationship drama, but their number one priority is to save the world from the Queen Lavanna, make sure she doesn't get the throne, and that, and finding the lost princess, Celine, and stuff. That's their priority. The romances don't take over the plot. It's in there as a secondary plot point, but it doesn't take over. Like, yeah, and the characters do think about it, especially Cinder, because, like, there's the whole Kai is the emperor, and she's just a mechanic and stuff, and there's other drama, and then there's this whole, what's Cress, and having a massive crush on, Carswell Thorne, and she has to grow to, and he's like, you shouldn't love me, I'm trouble, and you're a sweet kid and everything, and then they grow over time, and you get so frustrated because you can see they're really genuinely falling in love with each other, and just, like, they're trying not to, because of, his reputation, who he as a person, and her thinking that he's not interested in her, because she's not his type of girl and all that, and there is relationship drama, and, there's also the drama with the other girls and everything, but it doesn't dominate the plot. It's not the main plot point. Like, that's my only reason why I don't come back to Twilight. Why I liked it then, I don't like it anymore, because Twilight would probably bore me if I tried to read it again. Like, yes, I'll read Jane Austen, and, I'll watch rom-coms and stuff like that, but, I think, first of all, the love story doesn't happen, and the couple, I don't know why, I can't exactly explain it. I guess this is my version of, I'm a hypocrite because I like this, but I always but that one the plot point of those books is one of the things that I complain about. Like, I'm referring to, like, Murphy Napier did a video not too long ago where she talked about books that she loves, but normally there's aspects of those books that she doesn't normally love, and, she's like, these are books that I'm a hypocrite about. And that's how I guess it is with certain, like, especially classics and stuff like that, where, like, in modern day literature, contemporary literature, I don't like it, but, it's not my type of genre, but then when it's, like, fantasy or historical, then I might make an exception. So, anyway, I am at the point where, in this book, I am at the point where you finally have gotten to where we're with Dalinar and how he's having, and everyone's kind of down. His son thinks he's having delusions, and he's kind of butting heads with Sadeas, but he's also trying to explain to his son, who does not trust Sadeas, that we have a common goal. We have our own ways of doing things, but we still have a common goal, and we respect each other in a way, you know. But I'm kind of with, and I don't know if this is heavily influenced by Jay's video where he did the Jay from Captured in Words, where he did a recap of the whole book, and he basically, so I know what happens now. I don't remember it that well, but I have a basic idea from what I remember. And I don't know if, although I didn't trust him when I first started reading this, I think I was a little distrustful of him to begin with. And I don't know if it's influenced by that, by Jay's video, because I know what happens, but I definitely don't trust Sadeas, and I still feel like both Adolin and Adolin and Dalinar, his father, are correct in their own, their perspectives and their feelings are both valid and correct, I think. And then we have Kaladin, who's trying to put in the effort to get Bridgefour to work together, but they're not cooperating with him right now. I know that eventually they will, because I do remember that from reading the book, not from listening to Jay's video, but from reading the book. I do remember that eventually they do come together and learn to respect Kaladin. And we also got another flashback when we see Kaladin 7 years from now, or 7 years ago, and he wants to, he's kind of caught between, he wants to be a soldier, but his dad wants him to train to be a surgeon, go to a school for surgeons, and he's talking to this girl that is totally into him. She really likes him, and he does not get it, of course. He doesn't see that she likes him, but I feel like she's kind of mean to him and hard on him, because first of all, I think the problem in romantic relationships is people don't communicate. I guess we just assume that guys understand us and that we speak and they understand our supposed code we speak in, but they don't, and we almost need to explain things to them. And I feel like he's not gonna get it unless she told him, I like you. This is why and I feel like she wanted him to be a soldier, be a warrior, because, of course, women fall for warriors because they're strong and brave and they'll protect them. And I think that's the root of it, that you want someone to protect you and be your, so it's like, if he becomes a soldier, he'll be strong enough to protect her. And she's all like, and when he gets his ass kicked, the first time he tries to fight these other kids, this other boy, she is like, how dare you? You're such a disappointment. How could you be such a disappointment? Just walks away and ignores him. And then the other kid, he gets this thrill from using this weapon and everything and fighting and stuff. And Cal tries to ask the other boy, teach me, and the other boy's like, no, I'm not gonna take that risk. Because you do what you do and I do what I do, kind of response. And on the one hand, I understand, but on the other hand, he's just a kid, and he's probably scared, and he doesn't want to cross any lines or anything, and he's probably been led to believe his whole life made to think a certain way. And I just feel, I feel bad for the kid, but at the same time, I'm so frustrated because who cares what the adults think? Stand up. And it starts with someone standing up and fighting going against the grain, going against the rules. And, that's how things change. That's how we grow as a society and improve and become better and not have these prejudices. If someone stands up despite their fear and fights back, metaphorically and in this case, literally. But we all know, of course, that eventually Cal does become a soldier at one point. And, But yeah, I feel for I feel for Kaladin, and he's definitely everybody's favorite. Um, I still don't know who's a favorite of mine yet. I guess I kind of like Shalon, and I want more from her. And she's someone I can relate to. I feel like, she's kind of book smart, but very shy and a little reserved and stuff. And I don't know if I could do what she did and go to talk to this authority figure and stand up against them and trying to, be like, I'm worth taking on as your apprentice, as your ward or whatever. Don't, but then of course she's in a desperate situation. So, if you're in that desperate situation, you are pretty motivated to stand up and fight back. If you're in a desperate enough situation to where you need it, you need this. And she needs this to protect her family, help her family. So that's the only two books I'm kind of focusing on right now. I might bring another book. Like, I did attempt... Well, I guess if you count my dad's own book, I'm reading that as well. I did attempt to read Brothers Karamazov, and I brought Les Mis outside with me, but it was a little too chilly, and I was assuming that, I can wear a t-shirt. I just have to wear a sweater, and it's like, nope, the weather's not ready for that. Especially because it was evening, and the sun was going down, so, it's one thing when the sun's up, then it might be warmer, but when it's going down, it's gonna go back to being cold. So I was not comfortable sitting outside. And then, of course I worked yesterday, so I got up super early. So I was very tired. I ended up falling asleep in this very chair for a little bit. Took a little cat nap before it was time to eat. And so I didn't get much reading done. I mean, I of course brought a book with me to work. But of course, again, 15-minute break. So I only got like a page, and actually someone had something other than sports or the news on, like they're or a game show. Although game shows are a little bit better than sports or news. But someone actually had the show Friends on TV, so I was like, ooh, something actually good on. So I tried to do a little bit of reading, but then I got kind of sidetracked by the show Friends. So it was basically it was the episode, the 2-part finale where they go to Vegas. It was that episode, but I didn't even get to finish it because when I was there, I was I having to go back downstairs and go get back to work. Which I mean, I've seen the episode, but it's kind of this point when it's one that you like and you can't watch it because you're at work or something. So yeah, I attempted to read The Physician. That was the Physician is the one I brought with me. Fortunately, it's not a mammoth, but it doesn't count as a mammoth, but it does count as a tome. So I might read it for Tome Topple, and bring it with me for Tome Topple, which, so I might read that one. Just so hard because I keep thinking there will be times when I have these moments of, I just need to pick out this many books, maybe have a few, books this size. And then, 1 or 2 that are this size. But then it's hard to narrow down because then I look at my books and okay, which of these books do I want to read? That's the problem. Therein lies my problem is I see all the books I have out and look at my shelves and I need to read this one. I want to read this one. Oh, and I want to read this one too. And it's very difficult to make a decision. And it's even worse if we go whenever the good news about our current situation is technically we're not going anywhere. We're not going. I mean, we're not supposed to be going on any vacations or anything, so I don't have to worry about that. But when we go on vacations, having to decide which books to bring me on vacation and trying to be I shouldn't bring too many books because I probably will get very little reading done. And I ended up bringing way too many books with me because I can't narrow it down. And so the good news about not going on vacations right now, not going anywhere, is that I don't have to worry about that because I have all my books here, and if I change my mind all of a sudden I can pick whatever book I want. But so yeah, I'm trying to say, do I focus on this one? The problem is like, again, thinking, oh, it's on a mammoth. I should be reading a mammoth right now. And I always say, like last year I said, I'm not going to go crazy with the readathons, but I always do. Like, I always get super excited, and Tome Topple is coming up this week. So, coming up next week, I think. I'll have to, like, the 15th, it will be coming up, and we'll start on the 15th. So, I'm, like, thinking, oh, that's coming up, so it's easy to say right now. It's like, oh, I'll only focus on 2 tomes or just 1 tome. And then I get to that point, I'm like, oh crap, I can't decide. So, but anyway, I love how this has footnotes in it. It has footnotes where, and even on the back there's footnotes. Like, you have the summary, but then at the bottom you have footnotes from Bartemius, who's the other main character, where his thoughts, he's like, first, okay, so the top says, a modern-day London run by magicians, a stolen amulet, a tale of intrigue, murder, and revenge. The first in the Bartemius trilogy. So the footnotes, the first footnote is, or so they think. In reality, we demons call the shots. Second footnote, I didn't do it. Well, alright, I did. But it wasn't my fault. I was forced into it. Who by? That's the embarrassing part. And footnote 3 is, and me, Bartemius, the star of the show. And then the last footnote is, my exploits are simply too numerous and splendid to be contained in one solitary volume. It's so hilarious. Like, I love his footnotes. I love his Bartemius' commentary. It's so funny. But yeah, I feel like I need to focus on this one. Like, I could get this done a lot faster if I just focus on it. I just keep thinking about, I should be reading a mammoth right now. But anyway, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyway. So, are any of you guys participating in any readathons this month? I know, like I said, there's the March Mystery Madness readathon, and there's the readathons I'm currently doing, the Tis the Dam readathon, the March of the Mammoths, and Tome Topple is coming up, and then there's also the and it's also middle grade March, which the Bartemius trilogy is middle grade, so. But that's the only one I'm reading, because I don't have any other middle grade books. I don't even have the Hollowpox, the 3rd book, which is really annoying. Of course, it's the worst timing, because once again, I'm trying to prove to my parents that I can hold out and not, for a few months or long, and not insist on going to the bookstore. So unfortunately, there are a lot of, so I can't jump into the next. I still don't have the next book in that in the Morgan Crow series, which, well, actually, I don't think it's called it's called the Nevermore series. But I think it should be called the Morgan Crow series. I don't know why it's called. I don't think it should be called the Nevermore series. But well, although I guess either title works. But anyway, so I don't even have that one yet. So I can't really, that's the only middle grade I have, is that trilogy. So if you're participating in any of those readathons, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and only focus on books. Don't focus on anything else, please. Okay? Nothing else. Just books. We're talking about books here. Oh, and you can talk about movies and stuff, of course. But that's it. Like, movies, TV shows, and books. Which includes graphic novels by extension. Okay, so, please don't ask me how tall I am in the comments, or how many, or anything else. Just to let you know, I'm going to ignore those comments if you ask me something otherly personal like that, like how tall I am. and other stuff that has nothing to do with books or movies or TV shows. So anyway, I hope you guys are continuing to wear your mask, staying 6 feet apart from people, and keeping your hands clean and sanitized. Because unfortunately, we're not out of the woods, and even if you get the shot, it doesn't mean you can't get it. I mean, you can also be a carrier and still spread it to other people. So it's not over yet. So please just still continue to wear your mask and sanitize your hands and stay 6 feet apart from people until we're out of the woods for good. You know, you still need to be careful. And I mean, it's none of my, now, granted, it's not my business if you don't believe in it. But I admit that I don't understand that. But if, you believe what you want to believe, there are apparently people who don't. And think that wearing masks are a waste because you're just giving yourself your own germs. But it's it's not just about protecting yourself. It's protecting other people. It's considerate of other people. And I hope everyone continues to be kind to each other, and not just now, but in the future. I think being mean to someone is a waste. I understand there are people that are frustrating and annoying, people that are jerks and assholes and don't deserve your kindness, but kill them with kindness. I mean, I'm not good at that all the time, I know that for sure, but, I think people should try their best to be kind to each other. And yeah, particularly now, we need it. But always do it. And I hope you are enjoying your reading. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!